Hey everybody, I'm sure you guys definitely know about Tectone and all the accusations against him, especially involving his father. I wanted to kind of set this record straight and bring up to you guys that when there's ongoing court cases and investigations, it's incredibly dumb to automatically come up with a conclusion and to take a side. It is unbelievably dumb. When these things are going on, the truth eventually will come out, regardless of who wants it out there or who doesn't. It is the best policy to wait until everything is done before making a video. So why am I making a video? Because there's a lot of people who are against Tectone who apparently have already decided that this has happened whether the courts have decided or not. And that's not fair. So let's get all the evidence out there of what happened between him, his father, and obviously Tectone's exes. We're going to get all the current information that is verifiable. And then I'm also going to break apart some moron's video that didn't even make sense. He should never have posted it. It's so incomplete and makes so many bad accusations. I mean, I say they're bad accusations because there's nothing to back what he's saying. Maybe it comes out that Tectone's just awful. Okay? Maybe everything gets proven. We don't know that right now, though, and it's incredibly irresponsible because this is how people get sued. Now, Tectone could be suing all these people, and a lot of people don't think that that would happen because he hasn't been suing these people. But the problem is he's currently under investigation. He's got an ongoing lawsuit in general. Probably not the best time for him to start getting lawsuit after lawsuit. Especially, how would that look for the current judge? Probably not the best. Especially if things did come out. And it turned out some of these things that the streamers were saying were correct. It wouldn't be good. And allow me to explain it a little better than that. Let's say he decides to sue like Denims or something like that, right? Or who else was it? Frogan or any of these other people that have come out and said awful things like he actually committed RAPE and stuff, right? That's what they're saying. Why couldn't he sue him? Well, he's got an ongoing case about that. So let's say he goes ahead and sues these people. A judge is just going to simply order, well, let's wait for the court case that he's currently in to conclude so we can determine if they were telling the truth or not. Right now, do they know if they're telling the truth or not? Well, actually, technically speaking, they know they're lying because there is no evidence to suggest that he had done what he has been accused of by them. And if you know for a fact that you don't have evidence and you're saying it anyway, then you know you're lying. However, there's a little bit of play in there because it could come out that he did that right. And then they're like, we're right. But it was all just a guess. More than likely, a judge in that case would just be like, well, let's wait for the other case to resolve. And then we can determine who's at fault. That would just be a waste of time, right? That's pretty much going to a court and saying, I'd like to sue. And judge goes, okay, you're going to have to wait till it's over anyway. So no matter what, he's going to have to wait until it's over. Makes sense. That's why he's probably not suing anyone. I can't speak for him. I don't know. But if I had to make a decent guess, which I can at least come out and say I'm guessing, instead of pretending like these other YouTubers saying, nope, I know for a fact that this is going on, based on body language and stuff, which is dumb. Regardless of all that, I wouldn't think that it would be worth his time to start anything at the current moment. So let's read some of this. Twitch streamer Tectone's father has been revealed to be Colonel Michael Robertson of Fort Bliss, Texas. I am dyslexic today, apparently. Robertson was convicted by a military judge of 14 charges, including harassing 3 women and can't say that word out loud either, SAing 5 women. He was sentenced to 3 months in prison. Now, let's read. This is from Congress.gov. They use his case as an example. I couldn't find his exact case, all the court documents and everything. But this is the next best thing because I don't think they're going to use him as an example in Congress and misrepresent him. That would be a very bad idea. And I would imagine that this would have, especially since this came out in 2011, his father probably would have sued him if they were incorrect. So this is explicitly what happened. So when Frogan, Denims, Hassan, any of these other people come out and say his dad RAPE'd women, we can definitively say here that he did not. However, this is about the next worst thing that could happen, right? So we're going to go through it, and after this, we'll get on to Tectone and see what all his case is about. Today, I would like to tell the story of one of the 8% that were prosecuted. The story of Colonel Michael Robertson, who commanded Fort Bliss 31st Combat Support Hospital at Camp Dwyer, I think is how you pronounce that, a military base and airfield in the Helmand River Valley in Afghanistan. Last week, Colonel Robertson was convicted by a military judge of 14 charges, including having PORN on his computer, SHing 3 women, and essaying 5 women. Technically speaking, with the other 5 women, I don't know why they wouldn't slap on also as, harassing all 8 of them. That's kind of strange to me. Also, I can't believe he only got a 3-month sentence for this technically. That's kind of wild to me too. I'm not sitting here trying to unfairly attack Tectone himself, but I mean, his father probably did this stuff, right? I would surely imagine, especially seeing that they had apparently evidence from his computer, and I'll get to that here. Anyway, 8 women that served under his command testified at great cost to their careers and privacy. Colonel Robertson routinely touched them without their permission on their just all the areas, and encouraged them to look at PORN on his computer. Can't quite prove that specific thing, but check this out. Some testified the harassment occurred daily. Sadly, the military careers of these 8 women who bravely did the right thing are almost assuredly destroyed. I don't know about that. If he got sentenced and got found guilty of this, how were their careers essentially destroyed? Like, maybe if they have so much trauma that they couldn't go back, that would be one way. If what he did physically destroyed them mentally to the point where they couldn't work anymore, that's an argument, right? But if they're talking about being fired or like not being able to climb ranks or anything like that, that would be completely absurd. Completely absurd. Like, and the reason why I say that is because right here, a major who filed the claim against Robertson said, "I don't know if my career was in jeopardy for doing the right thing. Who in the Corps who supported you is going to trust you in the future?" So it's one of those things to where it's like, this guy was when the major ended up filing this report. Oh, wait. Yeah, filed against Robertson. If he thinks that especially after this guy being found guilty, why would his career be in jeopardy at all? See how that doesn't really make any sense? I'm not here to argue this per se, but it's just weird wording when people are a little over hyperbolic. I guess I don't have to even qualify with over. Just hyperbolic in general. Things tend to not make as much sense, and they don't need to do that, so it makes me not trust them as much. It's a little frustrating. Also, this happened 2 days before my birthday. Hooray, I guess. I would have graduated that year and been turning 19 in 2011. Holy cow. Anyway, despite repeated warnings, Colonel Robertson also emailed PORN to friends and family support, and female. Oh, God. Friends and family. Okay, that would have been absolutely weird. No. Colonel Robertson also emailed PORN to his friends and female subordinates. I want to know how they responded to that, because that seems to be left out. But anyway, that may or may not be important. I don't know, because if it was left out and they were capitulating to everything, it might change things a little bit, but I don't know. A lieutenant colonel who was the chief nurse under Robertson's command said his command split the staff and created a toxic environment. What makes the defense's answer to all of these accusations? That all of these jokes and touchings were attempts to boost morale. How much more outrageous must the excuses... Oh, I see how they're wording this. It's so weird whenever it's this large. I tend to group things in a little smaller. How much more outrageous must the excuses become before we do something about it? So what is the punishment for someone in the military convicted of 14 counts of SA and SH? His subordinates, who he was assigned to protect? Is he sent to prison for being a predator? Is he stripped of his standing in the military? Oh, no. Colonel Robertson was ordered to pay a $30,000 fine. That's actually a pretty massive fine. Over 3 months and spent 3 months in prison. Now, here's the thing. Physically, it's such a hard way to sentence someone for that, right? It's not hard to sentence them per se. I think 3 months is way too lenient, in my opinion. However, in this situation, depending on even if clothing was removed, is probably a big factor in that specifically. Now, I think there should be probably... So when they look at it, they're probably looking at what damages were done. If all clothes are on and he's just kind of grabs, it's hard to make a massive sentence out of that. The other thing, though, where I think they really could have gotten a major sentence, like at least 2 or 3 years, would have been the angle of subordinate and... I don't want to say master. But you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? When you're superior, that's probably the better word. Subordinate and superior. When subordinate and superior is in a situation of SA, that's where I think things really ought to escalate. Because let's say there was 2 soldiers that were probably exact same rank. Let's just put them all on the same playing field. Goes up and grabs a woman, just bop. Do I think that that's worthy of a 3-year sentence? I think that would be harsh. I think 3 years is a long time for a grab, Not that I would ever defend grabbing anyone. I'm just saying, punishment must fit the crime. I don't want someone going to 5 years in jail because they got mad and threw a rock through someone's window, per se. But I would be okay with it being a 5-year sentence if they hit him in the head. You see what I'm saying? There's kind of a difference there. So when someone just grabs someone versus actually going a little further to start removing articles of clothing, or maybe even going further than that, then that's where it needs to get a lot more serious, of course. It all has to depend on the damage that is done to the person. And how do you determine the damage done? Well, some people would say, okay, mental, psyche, and all that. Well, how do you determine that? That's a tough one, too, because you can't read minds. Someone could be lying about how bad it was versus actually telling the truth. And how do you determine? We don't really have a way to do that. So we kind of got to set a standard, and I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to say that this was a fair sentence. Until you get to apparently where Tectone himself said that all of these were false accusations. But I don't know if that's true or not per se either, just simply due to the internet. Was he sending these to people? However, were these people barking up his tree? Who knows? I don't really care, per se, that there was PORN. It doesn't bother me. I don't care that it was on government computers or anything like that. Again, doesn't bother me. So at best, we could say he got what he deserved. At worst, probably could have done a year, 2, maybe 3. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not a judge in this situation, and I don't make laws. It's tough to say. Anyway, where was I on this? I should have left my mouse alone. Let's see. He's sent to prison, 30,000. Okay, 3 months. Okay, Colonel Robinson will retire from the Army when he finishes his sentence. I think he probably should have been kicked out. I think at a bare minimum, they should have cut losses and said, you're getting kicked out. Because that is unacceptable. His conviction won't affect his Army retirement? Yeah, I think it should have affected that. Or his federal health insurance. And he will not be required to register as an SO. Or S offender, I guess, for people who are not looking at my screen. Yeah, I think if there's enough evidence, he should have to do all of this. Absolutely. It doesn't take a military expert or a psychologist to figure out that SA and SH hurts not only the individual victim, but undermines unit cohesion, morale, and anyway, they make the whole argument. Anyway, I get it. From here on out, there's no more information to glean from this. It's just an argument made. Probably here to strengthen punishment for soldiers who are absolutely doing the wrong thing. I'm all for it. I'm absolutely all for it. Again, I do not know the circumstances of how much evidence was found. I could not find the actual case. I don't know if it's sealed. This is the best I could do on it. However, if he had actually committed RAPE, it would have been in here. It would have absolutely been in here. So for those saying that his father did that, you're just wrong, and you deserve to be punished for it, in my opinion. There's no reason to make false accusations about this. You have the entire moral high ground here just by simply citing this. And Tectone will have absolutely no choice but to essentially agree with you. I mean, he could sit there and say that he believes his father's innocent. I don't know that he fully believes that. I don't know his stance on that fully either. It is a tough position to be in for anyone's son to turn against their father. Now, there are some serious issues that have come about with his father. I saw the video of him getting very emotional, which we'll talk about, and his father essentially putting him on the ground, putting a GU into his head and saying, "Tell me why I shouldn't pull this trigger." And apparently his brother kind of got him out of that. That's wild. That's a wild situation. I imagine that there's a lot of turmoil there, and that's a tough situation to be put in. But, again, I would like to get the full information on this case. I would love to read through it, and just in general, you know, have all my I's crossed and my T's dotted. Know what I'm saying? So, let's get to Tectone's entire drama going on here. Now, this doesn't start with, oh God, how do I even say that name? Pink Chiu? Just gonna call her Pink, of course. That's what most people call her because she has a really stupid name. Pink Chiu. Pink Chiu? Pink Chi? Pinky you? I don't know. That's a really, I hate that. The Twitch streamer Tectone, who is also known as John Robertson, has recently been involved in drama online involving his ex-girlfriend. Tectone's ex-girlfriend and fellow streamers allege that his father made inappropriate comments and jokes about assault, which made her uncomfortable. In a series of posts, I could care less. I could care less. He claimed during a live stream May 5th that Tectone's father was convicted of multiple SA charges. While he was serving in the U.S. military, Tectone addressed the allegations in his broadcast May 8th, 2025. Okay. Tectone denies Pink allegations and wants the process sped up. Hopefully you can see how false the allegations are within the next 3 years. I've been waiting 7 months for these people to reach out. Okay. That is what it is, I guess. You can't force police to speed up their investigation, but if you keep harassing them about it, they probably will slow it down because that's just the way a lot of cops are. Ridiculous, but whatever. Tectone, the Twitch streamer known for his humorous commentary and chatting sessions, recently addressed the allegations. Pink took over her ex account on May 8th and made allegations against his father's behavior, not hers. She wrote how his father would make comments and jokes about assault, which made her feel uncomfortable. Not SA, but just assault in general. I actually genuinely do not care. Wasn't going to say anything, but the guy would not stop talking about how he wanted to have relations with a podcast member. Okay, he can want that. I don't understand the problem with that. Make jokes about women being RAPE. Okay, so maybe he did in Vietnam and made me extremely uncomfortable. I tried to say something and was told it wasn't a big deal. I don't care. I don't care. You're saying that they were jokes. He apparently saying they were jokes. I'm not going to sit here and joke police. That's just stupid. Why did it just get me down that far? Okay, anyway. He would say the women who accused him of SA in the military were liars. Okay, so this is the dad, apparently, that was saying that. And I still can't believe he was allowed around other female CCs, content creators, including me. What do you mean, allowed? Who would have technically stopped him? I'm really confused. I guess Tectone could have stopped him, but that's his dad. He wants to hang out with his dad. I just don't get it. How allowed is such a weird term to use there. The truth always comes to light, and I hope those women know they did the right thing. For context, in November 2020, okay, we already know all this about the case. We went through that. I am not a liar. God forbid a victim stand up for herself and say enough. Wait, you're a victim? Victim of specifically what, though? The allegations made by Pink were denied by Tectone, saying the police had not contacted him. Wow, we just glazed over a lot there, didn't we? Just glazed. Oh, wait a minute. Here's the context. How did I miss this? This article sucks. For context, in November 2024, she alleged through her posts on X that her relationship with Tectone was abusive, toxic, and also involved harassment. Like, really? In a relationship? So you didn't even accuse him of SA, it was just harassment? How? That can't happen in a relationship. That really can't. How do you harass somebody without SA in a relationship for the most part? Because you're in a relationship. Like, unless you guys were only at, like, holding hands and kissing in movie theaters phase, then maybe. I have a feeling that with her having a OF that it went very far, very quickly. Just gonna guess. She also posted a screenshot on Thursday of a mail thread dated April 26, 2025 between her and a detective from Special Victims Unit of Austin Police Department confirming she had filed a report. So anyway, she's got a report. I mean, that's not enough to care about anything. Anybody can file a report. It's either going to be a false report or it's going to be the truth. How do I determine that? You got to wait till the very end. So there's not much to say about that. The allegations made by Pink were denied by Tectone, saying the police had not contacted him. He then expressed his frustration over the situation and emphasized that he would fully cooperate in the investigation whenever it comes up for a fair result. He said in a post on X May 9th. This is what he said. I would like to reiterate that it has been nearly 6 months. I still have never been contacted by the Austin Police Department. I look forward to the opportunity and will fully cooperate with their investigation and do everything in my ability to assist in bringing this allegation to an expedient and just result, and then sharing with all of you the results of the case. By the way, Tectone, just to let you know, sometimes they'll drag on these cases just to see if you'll come out and openly say something that they could add to their file. Sometimes that happens. A lot. Usually when a case is going on for a long time, it's usually because they have nothing. And that can be very, very possible. Now, this is Austin police. A lot happens in Austin. A lot. So it's really hard to say if they're just backlogged or if they're waiting for him to make a mistake. One way or the other, I would just wait for them to contact you. I wouldn't even worry about the case. She's probably really stressed out. I would be too. If there's any kind of case against me, I would just want to get it over with. But at the end of the day, this may go on for a year, maybe even 2 years. But the longer it goes on, the better chance he really has, honestly, of them just not even having anything. So, you know, I would just relax on it. I understand that these things take time due to the seriousness of things of this nature. But it's as difficult for me as it is for y'all to have to wait this long to clear things up. When you guys get to see how false, hopefully you guys get to see how false the allegations are within the next 3 effing years. Hopefully, guys, I'll be real. I went to the police yesterday. Hey, let's hurry this S up. Like, legit. I got my lawyers and said, hey, let's hurry this the F up. I've been waiting 7 months. I've been waiting 7 months for these people to reach out to me. They might not be interested in reaching out to you. They may want you to panic. They may want you to get people together, and they may want you to start doing things and offering stuff. You know what I mean? So I just wouldn't. On May 5th, Hasanabi publicly highlighted Tectone's father's past in his live stream. He said that his father was convicted of 14 counts of SA and that the convictions were documented in congressional records. Tectone responded to Hasanabi in the same live stream on May 8th, saying that the events took place when he was young, and now his father is 75 and is battling cancer. He was distressed and emotional as Hassan brought up his father's past. He also criticized Hassan for bringing up that topic alone, as it forced him to relive his childhood trauma. I could totally understand that, you know? You just never know. How old is he? How old is John here? Well, I don't know if I could probably just simply do a quick Google search. How old is Tectone? Is he older than me? 31 years old. Oh, I am a little bit older than him. No, wait, no, I'm a full year and a month older than him. Ha, in your face. Anyway, I guess that's not a thing to be proud of, really. I'm old. Look at how old I am. Good Lord. I will be fully gray probably before I'm 35. I'll be gray-haired before my dad. Fully gray-haired, anyway, before my dad. That's ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely insane. Whatever. Anyway, genetics just work that way. Anyway, as a victim, okay, so here's this. Tectone came out with his whole statement. Might as well read it out. As many of y'all are aware by now. Well, actually, you know what? He's coming out and saying all this. I don't necessarily have to read this out. I think anybody who's knows Tectone probably already knows all this stuff. He's denying everything, you know. Talking about how, as a victim of SA himself, I find it completely disgusting that someone would weaponize a lie on this scale, and I could totally understand. But honestly, at the end of this, it's not worth reading. It's he denied, she accused. You know, I mean, we know what this is going to be, you know. Of course, then I did want to read this. Keemstar said, I have no idea why you all streamers date these OF clout demons. You guys always get wrecked in the end one way or the other. I mean, yeah, it's literally, this is an online venereal disease, essentially, you know what I mean? So, we get to this YouTube drama, which, by the way, if you upload a video to Reddit ever, and it's not in line with what they like, they will just ban you permanently. The wildest crap. So, I don't know why this is on Reddit. I wanted to, you know, just in general, I mean, look at this. Thanks for sharing. If I were to post anything like this against Hassan, I'd easily just ban. And this was before I started talking about Hassan. I got banned here. Wasn't even a drama video. It was a guitar video. It was so stupid. It was a guitar pedal video. They were showing videos. The other guys were uploading them. Automatically, I did. And they were like, you haven't been here long enough. You don't get to do that. Perma-banned. Literally, IP banned from Reddit. Cannot create an account ever again. Guitar pedal. Guitar pedal video. That's it. And the sad thing is I got a beautiful pedal board right over there that I would happily show you guys if I had time. But anyway, maybe during the live stream, because I am going to probably react this weekend to this full hour-long video against Tectone. It is unbelievably dumb, but I'm going to just go through a couple of lines here. So, let's see here. I think it was court docs proving ex-wife allegations of the abuse. This is a little misleading of a tag. It just proves that she alleged he abused her. That's it. It's just her going, okay, I filed a case. So it's weird. I don't like it. Pink gets cheated on. I genuinely don't care about their personal drama there. I do not care. Deleted stream of Tectone priming audience before allegations are public. Well, if he knows allegations are coming out, I would do the same thing. What does that even matter? Pink abuse allegations are made public. Cool. Okay, wow. Really dumb thing. Truth about NDA and lawsuits to silence frame. I want y'all to hear this because this is dumb.
Freem was originally going to go public with allegations of abuse against Tectone. This is why Tectone had Pink go nuclear on Freem and accuse her of revenge and file a police report. This would lead to lawsuits involving Freem and Pink. Many of the claims Tectone was making that Pink would parrot were determined to be false, and the case would be settled after the determination in Freem's favor. Now, another settlement outside of this lawsuit happened between Tectone and Freem, I believe in Freem's favor, and led to both Freem and Tech being placed under NDA. So Freem wasn't ever able to go public with her allegations against Tectone, but there will be more evidence shortly that they were very, very similar to Pink's. Me and her are good now, but I should have listened. When you're in it, you feel blind to...
What's weird is I don't think that that's similar. Let's see here. I hate that people warned me. I didn't listen because I was so manipulated. That's, okay. I hate that I was lied to when another girl who went through worse was trying to come forward. Me and her are good now. Well, isn't that weird that whenever you have a breakup, all of a sudden, like, women just congregate with exes? That's just so weird. As a man, I've never ever felt the need that when I broke up with a woman to ever go to her exes, because that's a lame, stupid thing to do. But whatever. But I should have listened. When you're in it, you feel blind to reason. I have a harder time trusting any woman who says that they were in some sort of abusive relationship when they're just easily able to get out of the relationship. It's just kind of strange to me, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. It's strange. I see some comments that are worried, and I just want to let you all know I am out, and I have my own place, and I'm safe. Wow, and he never once tried to come after you or anything like that. That's strange. Don't want to worry anyone. I've been taking it one day at a time since this. Okay.
I see some comments that are worried. I just want to let you all know I am out.
Can you show us how similar their accusations were, though? That would be very smart at this point in time in the video when you said they came out and gave very similar accusations.
And have been at my own place and am safe. Don't want to worry anyone. I've been taking it one day at a time since this.
Today, you are going to see me at my worst. Today, I feel like going to be real. And
So you're going to show his reaction, but you're not going to actually show how close their allegations were? Really? More court documents proving Tectone was feeding Pink info to attack Freem. Well, I don't think that there's enough evidence to rightfully determine that, to be honest. So if you want to... Okay, it's just going to load. That's super cool.
On the same day, Freem was extremely jealous of Tectone's adventure and was pouting in her office.
Okay, let's see. On October... I could probably read this quite a bit faster than him. On August 8, 2022, Tectone hosted a live stream where he went on a real-life adventure, visiting several anime shops and attending an elaborate, expensive sushi dinner. Being that... Oh, man. Why waste money on sushi if it's not Hoppa Sushi? Wrong restaurant there, buddy. Being that this was work for Tectone, Freem and Kurzum were not invited to join because they needed to stay at the house and monitor the stream for technical issues. Okay, I don't care. On the same day, Freem was extremely jealous of Tectone's adventure and was... How is this proof, actually? This is just someone's statement. This is someone's statement. Who verified this? How is this court documents proving Tectone was feeding... this doesn't prove it. This is actually just somebody's statement.
Kurzum suggested they go out on their own adventure. Freem was excited by the prospect of going on a date with
This is misrepresented.
Kurzum and agreed. Involved in this, letting her pursue revenge charges.
Down right now, because this is...
Or he will pursue legal alternatives. He also...
Yeah, if he's able to deny this stuff at all, that doesn't mean that it was proof. This means that they're arguing in court about it. That's really stupid. Anyway, Tectone lies about leaving OTK. He was kicked out. I don't care at all. That means nothing. Second response to allegations, lies about receipts. That means nothing. Okay, because you can't prove he lied about receipts just because he doesn't show them. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe he is lying, maybe he's not, but you have to actually be able to physically prove he doesn't have them. Maybe he's not allowed to show them due to the court. I don't know. That's just a weird statement there. Pink announces she was weaponized by... I don't care. Police report, and Tectone brands himself berserk. In this, he never shows a police report, so, and never talks about it. So I don't understand that. Maybe I'll like I said, I'll react to this weekend. Here, let me show you guys. Live stream, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5 p.m. Central to 7 p.m. is typically when I do it. I also wear this MAGA hat and go on Omegle, and I get people really upset, and they scream at me. I'm usually just really nice to them. I'm like, hey, how you doing? And then they just start screaming at me. Very funny stuff. Then I clip it, put the shorts up on my channel, and yay. So anyway, let's keep going through this. Join me for that, and I'll also react to this video fully. Anyway, yeah, so he lies about the police report here being here. It's just absolutely, he just goes over berserk, which, I don't know, is silly. Hassan, nothing to do with this. Don't care about Hassan at all. Bad industrial complex. Don't care. Tectone Dad's infamous essay. I feel is irrelevant to this as well, but I guess you could bring it up to be like, see, family history maybe. I don't know. But Dad and Tectone insane podcast together. I don't care. Gooning podcast. I don't care. I do not care. And when I was watching this, it didn't seem like any of that was happening, but whatever. Eyewitness accounts at father's conviction for essay. Tectone responds to his dad being a wine. I don't care. Fake crying, whimpering for sympathy. Are you able to prove that? Very dumb. And then here's this part that I want to show too. Pink continues police investigation and corroborates dad being a freak. Oh wait, no, not that one. Never mind. It's the Tectone lies to me with Tectone lies to me proven with court documents. Let's see if there's ever a proven lie.
Life.
That's quite a change from his original threats to sue Pink for defamation, isn't it?
You no longer have 2 weeks. You have 24 hours.
I mentioned this earlier, but I did speak with Tectone. He said he would answer whatever I wanted. However, once he noticed the questions, he hid behind the NDA with Freem, even though half of the questions had nothing to do with her. I asked him about...
Okay, half of them didn't. Only half of the questions, so probably whenever he hid behind the NDA involving her, it probably was over the stuff that involved her, more than likely. Do you ever show that NDA statement in the messages. Let's find out.
That's quite a change.
Because this is interesting.
That's to sue Pink for defamation, isn't it?
You no longer have 2 weeks. You have 24 hours.
I mentioned this earlier, but I did speak with Tectone. He said he would answer whatever.
Okay. I'm doing a video covering your controversies over the past 3 years with Freem, Pink, and your father. I wanted to see if you wanted to offer any context so I can be sure to include it in some of the questions posted. He said, if you got questions, I'll answer whatever, but the... Oh, come on, I gotta go back just a little bit. No. Why lie to me, YouTube? Why? Dang it.
Life.
Okay, sorry, guys. I'm gonna turn that off. I have got to be faster on my pause game here. How absolutely annoying. Nope. Not there. And here. Okay, here we go. Whatever the context is, kind of already there if you do your research and not be baited by public opinion. So he doesn't exactly say he'll answer whatever he wants. He says, if you got a question, I'll answer whatever, but the context is kind of already there. It's not exactly as saying, I will do it 100%.
However,
so I don't know why you'd leave that out.
He hid behind the NDA.
Okay. Yeah, oh, okay.
With Freem, even though...
On March 7th, 2024, Pink does a stream attacking someone after both of you become aware of the allegations that were going to be made against you. What were these allegations? Pink accuses this person of... Why would you ask the question like that? You already know that. Are you trying to bait him? That's a leading question. Pink accuses this person of spreading revenge, PRN, being unfaithful, and many other things that she now says were totally false. Okay, is this... The blue would be... Hold on. Let me make sure. The blue would be what you send, right? Because that doesn't make any sense to me that he would be stating this. What the heck? Stop opening things without me doing it. Let's see. Oh. Oh, I didn't even realize. What? Why did it not? What? I have messages. Freaking Twitter did not ever tell me about it. Oh my God. Okay, whatever. Anyway, from other people, not in anywhere involving this redhead libertarian. Thanks for telling me, Dex. I have notifications on and everything too. Whatever. Anyway, these are the sender. Pink accuses this person of spreading revenge at PRN, being unfaithful, and many other things that she now says were totally false. Okay, well, if she says that, then Pink claimed it was taken out of context to scare her. Is this true? Did you encourage Pink to file the lawsuit? Any context? He asks all the questions. I don't care. You said you were going to pursue defamation. All right, why haven't you? Okay. Anyway, let's see what the answers were.
To do with her. I asked him about the allegation.
No allegations were going to be made against me. This was between her and another woman. I've never encouraged Pink to do anything. To be honest, I attempted to get her to move on.
And as stated earlier, he just straight up lied to me about that. I asked if he ever posted.
To my knowledge, the only receipts that were posted in response to Pink's allegations were of her paying rent. You said at the time she had more. Did you ever post anything? Why don't you post the receipts of him leading her to do this lawsuit?
Any other receipts as he said he would. If there was ever a period of time where Pink wasn't paying rent and why he wasn't pursuing a defamation case after he said he would. He responded with, I think the
problem with a lot of these questions is that with an ongoing lawsuit happening, I think you know I can't talk about a lot of this. That's valid. Out of curiosity, out of curiosity to not fuel any fire, wouldn't it just be better to wait to make this video until the result of the investigation? Or why does it need to be made now? That is a very, very fair point. He can't talk about a lot of this stuff. First of all, it could either incriminate him, or he's not allowed to by order of a judge. One of those two things, actually not even one of those, both of those things would be very bad for him. This isn't inone. This is actually really terrible right here. Really, really terrible for this moron to make this video like this.
The problem with a lot of these questions is that with an ongoing lawsuit happening, I think you know I can't talk about a lot of this. Out of curiosity, to not fuel any fire, wouldn't it just be better to wait
Listen
to
his excuse
until the result of the investigation, or why does it need to be made now? The guy is low-key asking me not to make this video in an attempt to cover this up.
He never asked that. He never asked that. So that's a wild conclusion to come to, actually. He never said. He said, why does it need to be made now? Why not a little later? He didn't say, please do not make this video.
That's how I take it after he answers none of my questions. I asked
That's how you just decide to take it? That's your interpretation, really? Because I could clearly see that that's not even close to what he suggested.
Which ongoing lawsuit?
So I think the problem with a lot of these questions is that with an ongoing lawsuit happening, I think I can't talk about a lot of this. So he says, which ongoing lawsuit? The one I was referring to was Pink's old one.
To which I received no answer, and asked again the next.
So here's the thing, though. Just because he's talking about that old lawsuit doesn't mean that in a current lawsuit that couldn't be coming up and possibly be either A, getting resolved, or B, being reinvestigated. I don't know if that's the case, but if he says he's not allowed to talk about it, then maybe don't give him the out while it's still going. Maybe wait for all this to resolve and then hit him with the questions. And if it's still like this, then you could come to conclusions. That'd be fair because there's already a conclusion out there. Technically speaking, maybe the conclusion doesn't become public. Then it would be okay for you to possibly come up with conclusions as long as people know that it's guessing, and you don't say it for a fact.
Next day, if he was referring to the NDA with Freem, and again, received no answer. The thing is, none of those questions I asked had anything to do with his NDA with Freem. They were all concerning Pink. In conclusion, I would say, in the public discourse, we judge these controversies that aren't definitively proven on the character of the parties involved. We know Freem was going to come out with accusations now 100% based on court documents obtained, and that Tectone has consistently lied about this for years.
You weren't able to actually prove that he was lying, though, and that's the bad thing about it. At best, you had circumstantial evidence, and that's not great. You were taking literally court documents on their face value of statements when the court's not even resolved this. It hasn't found one side or the other guilty. I don't know why you think that just because it's documented in a court does not mean that it is actually confirmed to be true. This is a bad video. And like I said, maybe we'll do an entire, if you guys are interested, maybe we'll react to it this weekend, maybe on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll let you guys pick. Down in the comments section below, tell me what you guys think of this. Do you think he's guilty? Do you think he's not guilty? How would you have, what kind of sentence would you have given his dad? Especially if, it's all 100% proven. I imagine it is. It's an old case. I think if there was anything left, his dad probably could have appealed and gotten it taken care of. Or they would have at least added more info if even worse things happened. There is that. I feel bad for what Tectone has gone through in general, especially with this whole thing. I don't want to replay all of this part, the quote-unquote what he calls fake whimpering and crying, because, I imagine there was some serious trauma there. I imagine whenever your own father holds you down and puts a loaded thing up against your head, that probably wasn't a very good situation to be in as a kid. I can only imagine what kind of trauma that would have caused. And I'm not making any excuses in case Tectone himself has actually done some really messed up things. The difference is I'm not going to sit here and assume that he did messed up things based on statements in an ongoing case. If it was that definitive, I imagine it wouldn't have taken 7 months, 8 months now, maybe 9 months now, for the police to do something. It clearly is not definitive due to the lack of action by police. So I would really, really, really encourage this guy, Shamu, I guess is his name, where he titles this video, Tectone, Twitch's most abusive liar. That's a heck of a claim. It's a very, very, very irresponsible title to put on a video that does not have very much evidence to back it. Anyway, what do you guys think? Down in the description below, or down in the comments below. Please like, subscribe, and share, all that good stuff. If you click on either side of these videos here, you'll see some of the shorts that I uploaded from the live streams. And if you go directly, this way, there we go. Right there and click on my face. I don't know why my finger is, holy cow, to this video right over there. Actually, I'm going to put my face. Well, no, I can't. Anyway, whatever. It's there. Click it. It subscribes you. Thank you all again, and I'll see you guys here in the next one. Later.